I start projects with such good intentions, but now I find I have photos and notes aplenty for events like Week in the Life, but nothing in my albums to show for it. I'd love to get these pages on paper. Glittergal, can you help?
Last step in my process is the page that goes in between that big photo, so that in the back of the page protector there's going to be a layout on white cardstock, and then facing that would be the divided page protector with all the 3x3 squares. I want to do a few things with each of these pages to have continuity, but also have a few things that are unique to each one. So things that I'm going to do the same on each one, I'm going to have a 4x6 photo. Doesn't matter if it's landscape or portrait, I'm just going to choose one 4x6 image that isn't the photo that I printed for the big one and isn't any of the small squares. And I'm going to print it with a white border. This one has gone a bit wonky. Maybe I didn't have it set in the printer correctly, so I'm going to need to trim the border so that it's a little bit more even. But anyway, 4x6 print with a white border. And they're all also going to have this white afternoon or morning, afternoon, evening kind of tracking sheet, which was part of the 3x8 paper pad for the Week in the Life kit that I had purchased. So I have one of these and this for each one. Other things I have to use throughout, I of course have the same stamp set that I've been using, and I like the idea of bringing that circle stamp back, which I used on the big photos but didn't use in the grids. And speaking of the grids, the pattern papers that I used for the pattern squares, this is what I have remaining, because I had one sheet of each one, and then I cut it into 3x3 squares, but I needed 2 for each day, which left me these. So I'm thinking I have a couple of options here. I have 7 patterns, so I could just choose one for each day, or I could cut these into 7 strips or 7 punch shapes or something if I wanted to have each of the patterns on the layout. I'm actually not 100% sure yet, but I have that option. I've also pulled out something that I haven't used elsewhere that I just thought matched the style. This is a really lovely product. This is from Kiki K, and it's called the Paper Book. They do these with all different themes, and if I just flip through, there's all different things. So some of it is plain paper that you can journal on. Some of it is like die cut papers to make little pockets and things, and letter stickers, goal sheets, stickers. There are cards that you can punch out, gift tags, all sorts of random different things, and it's all very cute. I've bookmarked a few pages here that I just thought these stickers matched the style of what was in the Week in the Life kit that I started working with. Because I need a little bit more embellishment than what I've got in the kit. That's just the style of how I like my pages, a little bit more full of stuff. It's just a personal choice. So I wanted to find some things that maybe would go well with it that I haven't used elsewhere. So I've got these 3 pages, and I'm not sure what I'm going to use, but I thought they might come in handy. So I have that bookmarked. And the other thing I thought I would do is with this circle stamp, when I used it on the big photo pages, I chose a different little scrap of pattern paper to stamp that on and punch it out for each one. I like the idea of bringing that pattern for that day back in this page. So in this example, it was the number pattern that I used on Monday. This one, there's where I punched the circle. So I want to put some of this pattern on here, but I know I can't use lots of it because, I mean, I could use all of this, but some days when I punched the circle, I maybe only had a scrap that was, say, that size. So I won't have a lot left of that particular pattern. But I thought I could just go as, I could just go with each layout and do however it's going to work, because I don't want the layouts to be identical. I will also definitely be using more gold mist because I have used that throughout. Okay, I think that's enough planning. I'm going to go ahead and make this page and see where it takes me. I am going to ink these white cards with black ink around the edges because I think then it will work with a little bit of contrast on the white paper. Now, actually, I think white without ink on white can look really, really lovely. But I think because I've inked things elsewhere, it doesn't fit the same tone. So I like keeping that a little bit more consistent. And then to get this photo trimmed up and figure out where I'm going to go with everything else. I think I like this balance of an L shape, and then I'll build around that. And I like the idea of bringing back the circle of the same pattern paper. But when I put it on top here, I actually thought I'd like this. I know this is a really small detail, but I'd like it to be flat and set into the photo rather than obviously layered on top. So I'm going to use the same punch that I used there to punch part of the photo. I'm sorry if that just made you gasp. It's okay. I can reprint the photo if this looks horrible. And just pop it into that spot so that it's flush. It's a really small detail, but I just think it will look nice on this particular layout. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm not going to put big layers of paper behind here. I'm going to stay with lots of white. And I'm just adding my adhesive in the middle because I think I will want to tuck things behind, but I haven't planned out what I'm going to tuck where. So I'm just using the adhesive in a way that I have the freedom to come back. Okay, and then my circle stamp. And I think when I did the first set, I stamped and then punched. But for whatever reason, this time I punched and then stamped. So just going to look through the block to get it all lined up. And I think I might be better off filling in the journaling straight away rather than waiting any further, because then I know I can just embellish the rest of the page. I wanted to have a look at what pieces I have left from the kit so that I wouldn't use them all on the first page, but likewise I wouldn't get to the end and have them all left over as well. So I have 2 of these. I'm thinking because there's just 2, it would be a smart idea to go with one on the first day of the week and one with the last day of the week. I also toyed with the idea of cutting it apart, but I was looking at these gaps and I think that the gaps are small enough that my cutting skill is not precise enough to be able to cut it without splintering the wood and ending up with a big mess. So even though it starts on a Sunday and I started my week on Monday, I'm just going to go with that, and I'm going to find a way to put a circle either above or below the Monday. Maybe this is the answer. Maybe not. To draw the attention there. I also have, what you just saw, I have those labels that I used on the big photo pages. I have 5 of them remaining. I likewise have 5 of the blue stars. So maybe that's my answer. I have 2 of these plus 5 of these. So I'll put one of these on all of the days in between the first and the last day of my week, and I'll put one of these, this one on the first and the other one on the last day. That seems like an easy, fair distribution of what I have left, so I can pop those up there and not use them yet. Then I had these plastic tabs. They're these little pieces that fold in half to protect a little file tab. Now, they're made with the plastic so that you could put them outside of the page protector, but the scale of them is very small for a 12 by 12 page. I think they are a smarter idea with the 6 by 8 or smaller pages, or to put on a pocket page, but I've done my squares now and I'm not going to add these. So I looked at the idea of adding them here. Now, the little pieces that go inside, I have 7, so I could put one on each day. Oops, I just dropped one, sorry. But most of them are fine. They're quite neutral, and the only thing I have a problem with is one of them has the American spelling of favorite. And I'm just looking for the one that I dropped. Here it is. And I try to make a rule just to be consistent with my own albums that I don't use American spellings. So I think I would need to just alter that one word, and I can do that. What I figured I would try, I'm not sure how much the plastic adds if I'm just putting it into the page. So I think I'll try with the plastic on this particular layout. I'll put the layout in the page protector when the layout's done, and then I'll look at it. If I feel like the plastic just makes it more complicated and I should just use the tabs without the plastic, then I'll go forward that way. If I can actually see the plastic and it looks like a nice subtle design element, then I'll keep going with the plastic. Okay, so that's my plan there. I'll go ahead and put one of those there for today's page, and the rest of them up there. And then I have my stickers here and my pattern paper. Okay, what I thought at this point would be that it would be good to just use, I'm not sure that I need to use all 7, but maybe a few of the patterns and use them as little strips and tabs that will tuck in, especially behind here. And maybe this needs to go there as well. Maybe I need to change it to one that works better on the vertical, and because the hearts are horizontal. So maybe this will go up there with some strips here, and then I want to have more embellishment here, the same pattern to match. So I think that trusty old label punch is going to come in handy, but instead of using the big one, I'm going to start with the small skinny one. And I may need to use the big one as well, but for now, I'm just going to choose a few of these patterns. I think I'll go with light blue, yellow, and the navy blue. And I'll start with these little tabs. And if I need some variety in the shapes or sizes, then I'll go back and punch some more. But I wanted to start, since I don't have a lot of this paper, I wanted to start with something small so that I don't make a mistake where I wish that I had more of the paper. Okay, I need to ink all these and then get them arranged. With this tiny little tab, I'm going to see if maybe just the word stories would fit on there from this stamp. It will, but I need to get rid of the ink on the 2 little arrows. Okay. And let's see about these colors. So if I do yellow in the middle, I think the light blue at the top. And I'm not really worried about how these two look in the middle because I'm going to put this one in the little plastic piece. Maybe it's easier if I fold it first. That goes inside there. And I've got it way off center. Let's try that again. It's better. I'm just looking at the plastic above. I'm not loving. I think I would want to tuck it underneath like that. And actually, what if I add the navy to the middle here and just have it up a little bit away from the edge there, so that this will have the navy behind. Okay. I could staple it, but I'm going to play with this idea of maybe just gluing it. Let's see how that looks. And then this will definitely need some little bits of gold. And I think trying to do slightly bigger droplets than I did in the little pockets, but if I have a paintbrush that makes lovely big droplets, but I think they would be so big that it would overpower things. Okay, so that looks okay there. Take that little bit away, which I probably shouldn't have done, but that's okay. And then I'm going to look at my stickers that I planned here and see, is there something that I would want to pop up into that mix, or do I only want smaller things? I've got this big circle that says start today, so that would be apt for the first day of the week. I think it needs to go underneath all this, so I've done this in the wrong order. Of course I have. It's no fun if I do it in the right order. I don't have this little game where I have to figure out how to get everything off the page. Okay. I'm going to put that there. And then take this whole piece and put it back. There we go. Yeah. Okay. This is just going to run down here. I was looking, do I want it overlapped? I think in this case, because it's not a printed image, it's a cutout image, I'm going to leave a little border there, or maybe put it right up against. I want to offset the edges because that one is, it's like a fraction of a millimeter off, so it doesn't look like I did it on purpose, but it doesn't look like an obvious mistake either. So I would rather have it obviously offset. Okay, that'll work. And then this area, I want to bring these colors up to here. And I think I will pull that circle off again. I want this to be slightly lower than the photo, so that that has that offset edge there. And I'm going to do them in the same order that I did before. So the yellow is going to be down here, and the blue is going to be in the middle, and most of that, this bit here, is all going to be covered when I put this back where it's meant to go. Now, before I do the mist, I will look again for the small stickers, and I was thinking I would go with one of these little circle hearts, and possibly a little banner as well. I wondered, now see, when I layer things inside, I'm always looking at the space around and seeing if it works, and to me, that's just a little bit too much. The blue circle is a little too small to be framed nicely in there. Mostly because the edge I have on this one is quite thin. And here, it's just a little bit too close to the same width as the bit in between the two circles. So, ink for the edges on this one. I didn't ink the gold because I didn't think the ink would actually work very well on the shiny metallic paper. But this one will. And this one I will just offset instead of going in the center. And I said possibly a banner. So let's look at these little banners. See if there is anything sensible. Those are all big triangles. quite like this or this, but I don't think they are the right color for this particular group. I think maybe just the one sticker is the right way to go here. Although I could do the, let's see if it'll fit. Because I'm kind of twisting the meaning of this tart today, and I have one here that says "Stay hungry," as like it's meant to be a motivating sticker, but instead it could be another meaning to the photo since he's eating dinner. So let's see if I can get that one on top there. Yeah. Okay. Missed again. This one I want to make sure I don't end up with it on the photo. There's the mist up to this side, so I'm not being so well coordinated. Rack. Then, the stamps. There are some stamps on this set that I haven't used yet that I was thinking I would use on these days, and it's, even though I've already got Monday circled up there, and there'll be Monday on the facing page and Monday on the page before, I liked the idea of having this little Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing, where you stamp all the days and then circle the correct one. And I think go with that right here. And then there's a small circle here that goes around the date. And I think it could work well to stamp it in a contrasting color, but I'm going to go with the same color, just like that. And I think a little bit of text would be lovely down here below the wood veneer. I'm just going to pop this right on the edge of my block so that in theory I should be able to stamp here without running into the wood veneer. Perfect. And now that I have stamping here and here, I'd like some stamping up there. So I think, would that big one work, or should I go with the smaller one? I'm going to go with the smaller one. Which is a bit messy with the gold there too, but I think that's okay. Now, what else does this need? Well, to me it needs something with some dimension. So, things that I have left. I have all these little gold puffy circles that I used at the very beginning of this project and haven't come back to. I've got those chipboard numbers, but I just can't quite work them into the format. So they may go to some other project rather than staying in this kit. Here's what I was looking for, those tiny little hearts. What happens if I use a few of these as little accents along the way? this is a point where I could call this page finished, but to my eye, it's looking very bare because I'm used to using so many colors and patterns, and this is very much white on white with just a little bit of embellishment. So I want to bring in some more color, but what I don't want to do is create brand new independent design elements. I want to just build on what's already here. So I'm going to try a very pale blue mist, and I want to get it something around this color. And I want to brush it in a horizontal line here and a vertical line here to just extend the lines that are already there. And then when it's dry, I might add a little bit of black stamping on top of that to continue the elements that are already there. I'm going to try this Mr. Huey, and I'm going to sample it on some spare bits of the same white cardstock before I put it straight on the page. I think in its full strength it's going to be too dark, so I think I can water it down. So this is Mr. Huey, that's Studio Calico's mist, in powder blue, and that is quite dark, so just pouring some water in. Let's see how pale it gets. That's more in tune with what I would like. Okay, so let's go ahead and bravely add some mist to this. I was deciding there. Okay, I think that's enough there. And then I'm going to use an eyedropper. Let me just check that this eyedropper isn't going to add a different color. Oh, yeah, I could use a bit of a clean. Okay, now it's clean. I just want... Okay, I think that's plenty. Then this top edge. Just being careful not to end up with pools of color that are going to transfer and make a huge mess. I know that this is going to warp the paper a little bit, but once it's in the page protector with everything else, it's going to flatten back out. It's also always worse before it dries. Okay, bring this down a bit so that I can do just a vertical bit right there. And one, two, three, done. And that's it. Okay, I'm going to let that dry before I attempt any stamping. And then my thought is that I'll be able to add a little bit of black ink on top of the blue to help it blend in with everything else. Thinking about what stamps I want to use here, I have used most of the designs from this set that I want to use on this page. I don't think there's anything else that I want to repeat here. The Today is just too big and bold for my liking. I want something smaller, and all the small ones that fit here I've already used. So I wanted to look at some other stamps, and I went through lots of different text stamps, and the thing I came up with is that I really just want plain, simple text. I wanted really clean sans serif fonts. I didn't want any handwriting because I've already got this bit of handwriting here, which is Allie's handwriting, and all of my handwriting here. I didn't want to throw another script or more handwriting into the mix. I think that's plenty. So I wanted to keep with just really simple fonts that wouldn't take away the clean look. All of the print that's here is sans serif, block capitals, and so it just seemed like a good place a good way to just stay consistent. So I decided I would go with this travel set because I can use it throughout the whole week, even when there's a few pages when we're on the road, so that more specific travel words will make sense then. But also, these aren't really obvious travel words. They can definitely be things that make sense at home too. So I'm going to stamp them in black. Really, really simple, not any fancy techniques, but just over the blue that I've added to pull all of that together so that you see this kind of diagonal line or L shape come to be. That's basically it. So there's a here we go, which seems like it should go at the top. And I was just wondering, do I want the text to go on the horizontal like normal? Or do I want it to go on the vertical to continue with all of this? But these two are on the vertical, as are these. But then this one and this is all horizontal. So I feel like I've made a break point here. Right about here, everything here down is vertical and here up is horizontal. So I'm going to stick with the horizontal. I don't think there's really a right or wrong. I think it could work either way. And I'm going to do here we go right at the top of the page. And I toyed with the idea of doing that kind of cloud stamping where I then stamp it a few times without re-inking. But I think the cleaner look will just be a bit more in tune with the rest of the page, unless I make a huge mistake in stamping, and then it's a great way to cover mistakes. So it's always an option I can go back to. And then maybe one more at the top. But I don't think I'll put it quite so close. I think I'll bring it down a little bit. And then also some words over here. Oops. That one's not perfect, but it would seem a little beside the point to find a way to fix my stamping of where it says go with the flow, since it's only just a little bit imperfect, so I'm going to leave it. Which ones have I not used? I think I used just this small one that says go and repeat it a couple of times. And I think actually that would be the answer to the empty space up here, because I wanted something to kind of fill that space, but I didn't want it to be huge and heavy, so just having that tiny little go stamp, that will work for me. Okay, now looking at all this, and it's feeling so close to finished, but now I want something that I can sprinkle into here and here to bring it together a little bit. So one last thing. My first thought was that I needed to find some style and color of enamel dots, rhinestones, pearls, something like that, where I could use it on all 7 pages and have it be consistent with this little sprinkling wherever the page elements end up. And then I had to stop because there is no single color or style that I have that many that I could do 7 layouts with all the same one. So that's not the plan. Instead, I'm going to choose 1 color per page because I do have enough enamel dots that I could do 1 page in at least 7 different colors or 7 different shades. So for each one, I'll pick a color that will work. In this case, it's going to be the red from this photo here, and there's just this tiny bit of red here, and it does mean that I'm going to add a color that I didn't put anywhere else, but I think it will actually work out really well in this particular instance. So I'm going to just sprinkle the red enamel dots throughout the spots where there's already embellishment. and just bring it right down the page. So I end up with a little sprinkled effect. And your eye should end up following that red from right up here at the top down and across. I just have one more left, so might as well get it into the mix. There we go. And that is where I am going to finish this one. So this will then go behind the big page, the big photo page, and before the divided page protector. And then my job left to do is to do 6 more of these, one for each day of the week, to finish the whole album.
For a look at the completed project, you'll find an additional short video right here this Wednesday, right before Glitter Girl's next adventure. Thanks for watching!